Namaste, welcome, and aloha. Welcome to the verse titled Krishna Purifies the Heart, the Inner Cleansing Process. We've learned about the power of sacred association and community. Now, this verse reveals what happens within the inner transformation that occurs through hearing about Krishna, titled Krishna Purifies the Heart. This verse describes how the Supreme Lord, dwelling within, cleanses away all inauspiciousness from the hearts of those who hear with devotion. This is about inner purification, deep cleansing. Let us explore this beautiful teaching. First, the verse in its original Sanskrit. Shrinvatam swakata Krishnaha punyashravana kirtanaha hridyanta hasto hyabhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam. These words describe the purifying power of hearing about Krishna. Let us understand what they reveal. Now let us go through the raw form of English translation of the verse. The translation: Lord Krishna, the friend of the virtuous, is glorified by hearing and chanting his narrations, which are themselves pious. For those who listen to his topics, Krishna enters the heart and completely cleanses away all misfortune and inauspiciousness. This describes the inner purification process. Let us explore what this means. Now, let us look at some core teaching of this verse. This verse describes how Krishna purifies the heart from within. Let us understand the key elements. First, Srinmatan Swakatahu Krishnahu, Krishna, to those who hear his own narrations. Shushnamatam, for those who are hearing, for those who listen. Swakatah, his own topics, his own narrations. Krishnaha, Lord Krishna. This establishes the relationship, Krishna and those who hear about him. Second, Punya Shravana Kirtana, whose hearing and chanting are themselves pious. Punya pious, purifying, auspicious, Shravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting. This is crucial. The very act of hearing and chanting about Krishna is purifying, not just the content, but the act itself. Third, Hridi Antahastaha, situated within the heart. Hridi, in the heart. Antahastaha, dwelling within, situated inside. Krishna is not distant, he is within your heart. This is the supersoul, the divine presence within every being. Fourth Abhadrani, Vidhunoti. He cleanses away all inauspiciousness. Abhadrani, inauspicious things, misfortunes, negativities, Vidhunoti. He cleanses, he washes away, he removes completely. This is the key. Krishna, dwelling within the heart, cleanses away all inauspiciousness. Fifth, Suhrit Satam, the friend of the virtuous. Suhrit, well wisher, friend, benefactor, Satam, of the virtuous, of the good, of the devotees. Krishna is not a distant judge, he is your friend, he is your well wisher. This verse teaches Krishna, whose topics are worthy of hearing and chanting, sits within the heart and cleanses away all inauspicious things for those who hear with devotion. The process is beautiful. You hear about Krishna, Krishna, dwelling within your heart, responds by purifying your consciousness. He removes negativity, fear, contamination. This is not external cleansing. This is deep inner transformation. Now let us look at some modern scientific parallels. This ancient teaching about inner purification corresponds to modern understanding of how consciousness can be transformed. First, consider cognitive restructuring, a core principle in cognitive behavioral therapy. Our thoughts create our emotional responses. Negative thought patterns create negative emotions. But changing thought patterns changes emotional responses. This is what the verse describes. Hearing about Krishna restructures your thought patterns. Inauspicious thoughts, abhadrani, are cleansed away. Second, Consider mindfulness, the practice of observing mental contents without identification. Mindfulness research shows when you observe your thoughts without identifying with them, they lose their power. You create space between yourself and your mental patterns. This is Hridi Antaha Staha, Krishna dwelling within the heart. There's a witnessing presence within you that's not identified with your thoughts. That presence can cleanse them. Third, consider neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural pathways. Repeated practice creates new pathways. Old patterns can be replaced. The brain can be rewired through sustained practice. This is Punya Shravana Kirtana, the purifying act of hearing and chanting. Through repeated practice, consciousness is restructured. New patterns replace old ones. Fourth, consider research on contemplative practices and emotional regulation. Studies show that contemplative practices, meditation, prayer, devotional focus, improve emotional regulation, reduce anxiety, and increase well being. This is exactly what the verse describes. Through hearing about Krishna, inauspiciousness is cleansed away, the heart is purified. Let us now move on to some practical application as it relates to this verse. How do we apply this teaching in our daily lives? First, recognize that your consciousness can be purified through practice. You're not stuck with your current thought patterns. You're not defined by your negativity, your fears, your contamination. Through sustained practice, Shravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting consciousness can be cleansed. Second, use contemplative practices to observe your thought patterns. Notice what's happening in your mind. Notice the negativity, the fear, the inauspiciousness, abhadrani. Don't identify with these patterns. Don't think I am anxious. Think anxiety is present. There's a difference. Third, engage in regular hearing and chanting Punya Shravana Kirtana. Hear about Krishna. Read sacred texts. Listen to spiritual teachings. Chant mantras. Sing devotional songs. These practices are not just informative, they're transformative, they're purifying. The very act cleanses consciousness. Fourth, trust the process of inner cleansing vidhunati. Purification is gradual, you won't be cleansed overnight. But with sustained practice, Krishna dwelling within Hridayanta Staha will cleanse your heart. Be patient, be consistent, trust the process. Fifth, remember that Krishna is your friend, Suhrit Satam. This is not about judgment. This is not about punishment. Krishna is your well wisher. He wants your purification. He wants your freedom. Approach the practice with trust, not fear, with openness, not guilt. Sixth, recognize that the purification happens from within Hridiyantastas. You're not trying to fix yourself through external means. You're allowing the divine presence within to do the cleansing. Your job is to hear, to chant, to be receptive. Krishna's job is to purify. Seventh, observe how your consciousness changes over time. Notice how certain fears diminish, how certain anxieties lose their grip, how certain negative patterns fade. This is Abhadrani Vidhunoti, the cleansing of inauspiciousness. It's happening, be aware of it, appreciate it. Now let us look at how this verse can help our young people. For young people, this verse offers a powerful framework for mental health. You're growing up in an age of anxiety, depression, and mental health challenges. Here's the empowering truth. Like how you can debug and optimize code, you can debug and optimize your thought patterns through consistent practice. Your mind is not fixed. Your thought patterns are not permanent. Through contemplative practice, hearing, chanting, meditation, you can restructure your consciousness. Negative patterns, anxiety, fear, self doubt, these are abhadrani, inauspicious things. that can be cleansed. You have a divine presence within Ridyantastaha that can purify your consciousness. Engage in regular practice. Be patient. Trust the process. Your mind can be transformed. Now, let us look at how this verse can help our older generation folks. For those with more life experience, this verse offers profound hope. You live with certain patterns for decades: worry, resentment, fear, regret. Here's the liberating truth: lifelong patterns can be gradually transformed through patient, compassionate self observation and practice. It's not too late. Krishna dwelling within your heart, Hridi Antastha, can still cleanse away inauspiciousness. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it takes consistency. But purification is possible at any age. Engage in hearing and chanting Shravana Kirtana. Observe your patterns with compassion, not judgment. Trust that Krishna, your friend Surat, is working within to purify your heart. The cleansing is gradual, but it's real. You can experience it. In conclusion, we can say this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam reveals the process of inner purification. Krishna, dwelling within the heart, cleanses away all inauspiciousness for those who hear about him with devotion. This is not external fixing, this is deep inner transformation. Engage in regular hearing and chanting. Observe your thought patterns with compassion. Trust the purifying process. Krishna is your friend. He is working within to cleanse your heart. Let the purification happen. Thank you, namaste, and mahalo for joining me in this exploration of this verse. Krishna purifies the heart, the inner cleansing process. Yes. Now we will move on to next verse.